It was supposed to be a simple bike ride, nothing dramatic, no ominous music playing in the background. Just a warm summer morning on June 26, 1981, when Kristin David, a 22-year-old journalism student, rolled her blue 10-speed bike out of her Moscow, Idaho apartment. She had just finished her final exams at the University of Idaho and was heading south on U.S. Highway 95 to Lewiston, where she planned to spend the summer with her sister. That 7-mile trip should have taken no more than an hour. She never made it. Kristin's disappearance was quiet at first, too quiet. There were no screams, no frantic 911 calls, no witness who could say with certainty that something had gone wrong, but something had.
Just so you know, they got the wrong person.
So I was an only suspect, which means we're already one step ahead of the police. Nice work, Sarge.
Somewhere between Moscow and Lewiston, Kristin vanished off the face of the earth. No one knew it yet, but her disappearance was about to become part of one of the most unsettling and mysterious cold cases in Idaho history. A few people did remember seeing Kristin that day. Witnesses near Genesee, a small town along her route, said they saw her talking to a man driving a faded yellow van with dark lettering on its side. That detail stuck. It wasn't just any van, it was distinctive, and so was the man. Described as being in his 20s or early 30s, around 5'10", with a husky build and reddish or brownish beard. Something about the encounter seemed off, but no one thought much of it until it was too late. For 8 days, nothing, not a trace of her. The world moved on like it always does, but her family and friends were in hell. Then, on July 4th, 1981, things took a sharp and horrific turn. A fisherman on the Snake River near Clarkston, Washington, about 35 miles from Moscow, found a black plastic bag floating. Inside were human remains, not intact, dismembered. The first bag wasn't the last. Over the next several days, more plastic garbage bags emerged from the water. Some stuck in river debris, some washed up along the banks. One was found near Silcott Island, another farther downstream. Some contained arms, some legs. One bag contained a human head. All were in various stages of decomposition, but one thing linked them. All were wrapped in newspaper pages from the Lewiston Morning Tribune, specifically from April 7th, 17th, 19th, and 24th of that year, months before Kristin even went missing. It wasn't random. This was methodical, cold, ritualistic, maybe even symbolic. Someone had taken the time to carefully wrap her remains using old newspapers, as if to communicate something, or to erase something. Either way, it was deliberate. Through dental records, the remains were identified as Kristin's, but what truly shook investigators wasn't just the body, it was how it had been handled. Kristin's body had been meticulously dismembered. The autopsy revealed no hacks, no desperation. The joints were cleanly separated, implying the killer had medical or anatomical knowledge, possibly a butcher, surgeon, or someone with field experience in anatomy. There were no signs of struggle, no defensive wounds, no broken bones suggesting resistance, but there were 2 faint bruises, one on her left buttock, about 2 centimeters wide. Possible pressure points, no other explanation. Her skull showed traces of metallic fragments. She had likely been shot in the head, execution style, then methodically taken apart. And here's the thing, Kristin's case didn't exist in a vacuum. Between 1979 and 1982, 5 people went missing or turned up dead under strange circumstances in the Lewis-Clark Valley area. Kristin was the 4th, all young, all seemingly unconnected, until patterns started to emerge. In 1979, Christina White, a 12-year-old girl, vanished in Lewiston, Washington, never to be found again. In 1981, just months before Kristin, Kristina Nelson, 21, and her 18-year-old stepsister Jacqueline, Brandi Miller, disappeared while walking to a grocery store in Lewiston. Their bodies were found later in a remote canyon, stripped of clothing, dumped with zero forensic evidence. That same night, a man named Steven Pearsall also vanished. He was a janitor at the Lewiston Civic Theater, where Kristina and Brandi were last seen. The Civic Theater. That's where all of this starts to circle back. The police had a suspect, they just didn't have enough to arrest him. A man in his 30s who had worked at the Lewiston Civic Theater as a drama coach. He was known to be charismatic, charming even, but his connection to the theater, combined with his proximity to multiple victims, painted a deeply disturbing picture. He reportedly gave odd interviews to media following the disappearances. In one, he suggested Kristin might have run away. In another, he deflected questions about her case entirely. Investigators believed he had a connection to at least 4 of the victims, and behavioral profilers suggested he matched the psychological profile of a serial killer: intelligent, controlling, meticulous. But with no physical evidence, no fingerprints, no weapon, no witness who could place him at the crime scene, they had nothing concrete, just theories. The yellow van, it was never recovered, and the newspapers used to wrap Kristin's remains. They were editions only available in the local area, most likely collected by someone who read the Lewiston Morning Tribune daily, possibly even someone who worked there. As the years passed, Kristin's case went colder than the river her body had been dumped in. Tips dried up, leads were exhausted, families moved on, but never really healed. It wasn't until 2018 that the Lewis-Clark Valley serial killer case received renewed attention, when retired investigator Jackie Nichols began working with private citizens and journalists to re-examine evidence. They believed they knew who the killer was, but again, no name was ever publicly confirmed, and no arrest was ever made. To this day, no one has been held accountable for Kristin's murder, or Kristina's, or Brandi's, or Kristina's, or Steven's. Kristin David should have had a future filled with stories, reporting them, writing them, living them. She wanted to be a journalist, someone who shared truth and exposed injustice. Instead, she became the subject of a story too many forgot: the strange ritual of the newspaper wrappings, the precision of the dismemberment, the unconfirmed but widely suspected suspect who may have even been admired by the community. It all leaves one unsettling conclusion: the killer is probably still out there, or if not, they lived their life free, never facing justice, never answering for what they did. Kristin's case wasn't just a murder, it was a message, a silencing of someone who was curious, bold, and alive with potential, and it continues to haunt a community still waiting for closure. If you're watching this and know anything, no matter how small, speak up. Stories like Kristin's don't deserve to end in silence.